I think it's a really important life lesson to understand how to tie a few good knots. You don't want to be messing around. When you're tying stuff down, it's for a purpose. It has a intended reason to stay put or do some sort of function, and to limit yourself to just making a rat's nest and hoping that binds is just not efficient, it's not smart, and it's just also pretty fun to just really kind of learn some knots. So these are my favorite knots that I use most of the time. I just went camping and I used them all. So let's get into them. Okay, so the first knot is the bowline knot, and it's really easy and it's probably the most useful knot you'll learn. You make a hole with like an overhand, just a typical loop. And as the Boy Scouts would teach you, the rabbit comes out of his hole, goes around a tree, gets scared, and goes back in the hole. And then you grab that rabbit and you can pretty much pull that, and that's the bowline knot right there. It's very, very useful for many, many things. Just in general, tie it around something and do the bowline. So you tie it, it always seems a little weird to learn it this way because it's backwards. So you go and then you would do your bowline with a loop and then the rabbit up through the hole, around, back, and then you have your bowline. You're running bowline along itself and it slides. However, I don't like doing it that way. It's kind of clunky, I think. It's just funny. So basically there's kind of a fisherman's way of doing it. Basically you wrap it around, so you get it around the line, and then with the lead part, you put it on top, you flip it over itself. So you kind of have this, now the rabbit's already out of his hole, then you wrap it around, rabbit goes back in the hole, and then tie it. That's going to be the easier way. So let's do that again. So the way that looks in practice, so you bring it through, around, up, over, around, down, and there you go. You just kind of clean it up. There you go. And then you can just kind of cinch it up, so on. So the bowline's basically the perfect way to start your end. Like, I just generally use it around a tree, do a running bowline, and then I have something to pull up and kind of get everything going. Then I can do my next knot, which is the running hitch, which is probably my favorite knot out of all of them because it's just so powerful and awesome. So let's get into that. So this is the trailer hitch after it's completed. It's beautiful. It's my favorite knot. Alright, so the way I approach this is I take the rope and I wrap it around the other end of this tree here, and I just kind of get it in place. So after I have it wrapped around the tree, it's nice and loose, it's just there. I take the part that's tied off and I make this loop like this. I just kind of pull it back. I'm going to drop this for now. So I pull back, it's this little bite here, and I pull it towards the already tight one because I'm working this way. That's how I remember. So I bought that end, then this end, and I tie it, just kind of feed it through. It's really, really easy, and just kind of pull a little bit. But the thing with this is great is when you pull it, it comes loose. So later on, it's really easy. So pull it up, and then now you take this end that I wrapped around, I feed it through, and I start pulling, and I get this really, really tight, and I can really, really crank that down. And this is great for tying down tight loads. You can just keep going. And the great thing about this is the leverage on this doesn't have the friction. Like, I had some friction on the tree, but if I pull, say, something like 1 pound of pressure here, it's pulling about 2 down back at that end. So it's really, really can crank this down really tight. So after you're done cinching, you just pinch it here so that it doesn't go anywhere. And then you just pull this like little slack up and through, and that tightens it. It's nice and clean, and then when it's done, just pull it out, and then this will come out. And then this part, again, all you have to do is pull, and that comes right out. It's nice and clean. The next knot is a Prussic knot. It's just cool. I like it. It helps with like tying something to the line, which is what I was showing you with the other 2 knots. Let's get into that. All right, so the Prussic knot's pretty easy. Basically, I have this little loop of rope, and you really just wrap it through. That's really all it is, just kind of like that. I do 3 times and dress it up nice and clean. Ugh. There we go. And the good thing with this is if I pull on one way, it's not going anywhere, and if I pull on the other, it's not going anywhere, but I can easily slide it. So if I say had a tarp here, tie this to the tarp, slide it up, and it's not going anywhere. I can just nicely tighten it onto whatever. And even if this is like vertical or climbers use it, so that they have this lead, and if they fell, they would have their heavier rope, not paracord, and it would save them from the up and down movement, but they can slide it very easily. Very, very useful, very cool. I like it. It's really pretty knot. Yeah, that's the Prussic knot, or Prussic, however you say it. All right, so the next knot, it just comes in handy. It's really nice, pretty knot, and it's very useful because you can adjust it really easily. So it's good for like just generally things that you change a bit. So I always take a little more slack than I'm used to, or you would figure, and then you wrap it inside it like you're gonna just tie it. Do it again, and then you have it go over itself like that, like back over. Normally you would think that that would be the right way, but it's not. You go this way, and it's nice and clean over that way. So you kind of like a Prussic or Prussic. With it, you get the adjustment, and it's nice and tight. Wherever you kind of pull it, it can adjust. So it's just really helpful in a lot of ways. Whatever the case may be, that you just need something that you can kind of tighten a little bit or loosen, say tying something down or whatever. So another favorite, very good. All right, the last knot is really just kind of a helpful thing that happens more often than you figure, which is tying 2 ropes together. It's a double overhand, double fisher, some not good with names, but it really helpful. All right, so this is very useful. Instead of doing something like this, which you would figure would work, where you just make a knot and then tie, it's just not secure. It can slip really easily. So basically, like to sum it up, you wrap this around like one end around the other a couple times so that you end up with 2 loops like this, and then you feed that line through the loops. That's basically what it is. There's a lot of ways to do it with your thumb and stuff like that, but I just like that. I think it's easy because I always end up with short ropes like this, so I just figure, okay, well, if I just wrap it around it a couple times and then go through that loop with this, then I'm not dealing with like wrapping around my thumb or doing crisscross stuff. And then I have those 2, and then at this point, now when I pull, now I have this nice tight, like whatever this knot's called, and it's really secure, and it's really pretty, and it's nice too because you can see what's going on. It's real secure. So that's that. So those are my favorite knots. I hope this inspires you to look up some more and just kind of get this part of your life tackled. You should be able to tie stuff down properly. And here's a bonus thing, is when you're putting it away, just throw it between your middle fingers here and just kind of go over pinky and thumb like this. Try to keep it in front of each other. It helps the spooling when you put it away. So when you finish, you have a good amount here. You can kind of pinch it, take it, and then when you wrap it back around itself. Now it's biting right here. Just kind of curl it up, just as is, and then put it under itself, just like that. Pull it through, and that tightens it. Now you have a nice kind of little spool, so to speak, and then when you pull it out, you can, since you wrapped it around your thumb and finger, you can just kind of pull it without a tangle. It's really nice and clean. This can be used for a lot of different things. Again, it's fun and nice to know this stuff. You'd be surprised how often you end up using these techniques. All right, next time. Peace.